Stephanie Marie Rose, the first female judge to serve in the Southern District of Iowa, which covers the University of Iowa and Iowa City. Go Hawks. So there was an incident that happened there, and she made a very interesting ruling on that has some pretty serious ramifications for Iowa City Police Department. And I'm from Iowa City. I was born there. I didn't grow up there, but I did live there for 5 years after I became an adult, wherever else I grew up. I learned how to sell art and market art and be a working artist. And now I live in Oregon, and the economy's in shambles, so all that was a complete waste of time. But that notwithstanding, while I was in Iowa City, I did have a chance to get to know the people. I worked in the public, and I got to see my community every day, and they're great people, very open-minded, very inclusive, until you get to the police. Once you get to the police, that's the slave patrol. It pretty much is. I don't know how it happens in such a progressive city. Well, I do know how it happens. The mayor's elected by the city council, and just try to get a seat on the city council with somebody who represents you and not the corporate elitist class that exists there and pretty much has control over everyone's lives. And there's also the dynamic of rich parents don't want to send their privileged kids to the University of Iowa if they think that there's a lot of nefarious stuff going on. So it makes them feel better when they see that there is a racist slave patrol police force there, so they don't have to worry about their white daughters. But that notwithstanding, this justice, Stephanie Rose, she was appointed to her position by Barack Obama, and whether the Senate was Democratic or Republican doesn't matter, because she was confirmed by 89-1. That's how you put a judge on the bench, is by this kind of vote. You don't do it by a split down the middle, by a very minor, tiny little majority, because you just disenfranchised half the United States. But this justice, there's hope. As long as she's there, the good people in the Southern District of Iowa are going to have some kind of fairness in their justice system. So the University of Iowa, like I said, it's very inclusive. They have a long tradition of firsts, including a lot of advancements for women, in particular black women, who were given opportunities long before anybody else was doing it. The University of Iowa was very inclusive there, and that sentiment has endured in the city. So it's particularly shocking when you hear about something like this. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, Beth and Chris, this is the intersection where Christopher Kelly was arrested last year in front of the Waterfront Hy-Vee. Now, he was found with an illegal gun as well as marijuana, but that evidence was thrown out by a judge. That same judge says that the officers also made up a story about Kelly jaywalking, and that the body camera footage shows that the arresting officer was guilty of racial profiling.
Yeah, I'm parked just north of the gas station here.
This is Iowa City Police Officer Travis Neild after getting a call for a black man, possibly with a gun, near the Riverfront Hy-Vee last December 26th. Officer Neild spots Christopher Kelly, but then talks with other officers to find a reason to stop him.
Well, he's jaywalking right now, so I mean, there's always that.
Neild waves Kelly to cross the street in front of his patrol car. Officer Neild then stops Kelly for jaywalking as an excuse to confront him.
What you got in your pocket?
Kelly first gives the officer a fake name.
Hey, what's your name, partner? Marcus. Marcus, nice to meet you. I'm Travis. All right.
Kelly tries to walk away, but Officer Neild stops him. As he lectures him on jaywalking, backup arrives.
What are we doing, man? Put your hands on top of your head.
What?
Put your hands on top of your head.
What are we doing?
You may have a warrant for your arrest. We're going to check.
I don't have a warrant.
I don't
have a warrant. I'm gonna tase him in the back. I don't have a warrant, dude. I don't have a warrant.
Deployed.
Why is he
Officer Neal tases Kelly after he's on the ground and keeps tasing him repeatedly for about 20 seconds, even with 4 other officers holding him down. Police did find a loaded handgun and marijuana in Kelly's coat pocket. Federal Judge Stephanie Rose threw out that evidence and blasted the police's actions, calling it a case of walking while black. And at one point, she says Officer Neal is not credible. She writes that police need more than a hunch to stop someone, writing this incident continues a long and unfortunate pattern of racial profiling and pretextual stops of Americans of color.
This could have turned deadly really quick.
We showed this video to Joshua Booth, a father of 4 in Johnson County.
Chris, waved at the officer like this when he went to grab him. That's a reaction. That comes from the years of hearing from your parents and from your uncles and aunties the long list of, things that have happened to black people in America.
Johnson County and federal prosecutors say Officer Neal's actions were lawful. He's still on the force, even being moved after this incident to the role of community outreach officer, tasked with building a better relationship with the community.
This video, as much as the Iowa City Police have been doing to get closer to the black community, this video would just pull them that much further back.
Sarah Riley is a civil rights attorney in Cedar Rapids. She says the incident presents a legal issue for officers to do his job in the future.
When you have a federal court judge saying this officer is not credible, every time he makes an arrest and a case goes to trial, he's going to be cross-examined on the fact that the Judge Rose, has said you are not credible.
Riley says it's rare for a judge to be so blunt in criticizing police's actions as an example of systemic racism.
Normally you hear a judge saying racially profiled or something, but to actually say he was arrested for walking while black. You hear the driving while black, but walking while black is obviously just another version of that. She made no bones about it. I mean, she just came flat out and said this man was targeted due to his race.
Iowa City Police say Officer Neal did not violate any department policy. A spokesperson says policies are changing, but not because of this incident. In response to the Black Lives Matter movement, Iowa City Police have updated several policies and are reviewing others around bias policing.
I don't think anyone would like some police officers say, yes, come on, you can walk through, and motion you to cross the street, so you cross the street and then arrest you for jaywalking when he motioned you to cross the street. I think most people would think that's horrible.
While Officer Neal is still patrolling the streets and the department is making policy changes to try and prevent incidents like this one, Booth says the city needs to do a better job of holding their officers accountable after watching this interaction.
That's exactly right. The city does need to do a better job. They're not going to. They're not. There's a reason why they're doing what they're doing. And until that reason changes, they're not going to change anything. And that reason is they want to maintain their power and control over the city of Iowa and the optics of the University of Iowa. It's very dynamic, and it's about money. There are like 40,000 people that crowd the city every year for school, for the games, the college games. It's a huge, huge economy. So kind of reigning over that with an iron fist is the philosophy of the city. And what it's going to do is going to end up getting them sued, number one. You've got this officer now who, as a matter of public record, has had his character questioned by a federal level judge. So just like the civil rights attorney said, he's going to have to answer the questions about that every time he's called to court for a case. So the best thing that the Iowa City Police Department can do is get rid of this officer, because he's at this point a liability. And then work on changing your practices. I mean, you can change all the practices you want, but if you still have slave patrol running in Iowa City, it doesn't matter what your practices and policies are. You still got a bunch of bigots with guns making up charges on people so they can violate their rights. What do you think about this one? Leave a comment. I did want to talk. Oh yes, I did want to show you this. Let me mute this so we don't get the sound. So when they get him down, before all of this happened, they said they found a gun and marijuana on him. Okay, if you're slinging marijuana on the streets anywhere, you probably need to be packing because you're going to get robbed. So that's probably why he has a gun, to protect himself from robbers. It's not to rob people. But, you know, he's black with a gun, so of course he's automatically victimizing people. He's not just defending himself. Well, why doesn't he have it legally? Whatever. You got the slave patrol, you're going to get a gun legally and have your, you know, paperwork and all of that to carry, open carry. No, that's not reality for a lot of people. We got to operate within reality. We can't operate in the ideal version of unicorns and rainbows. So they finally do get him on the ground. And then what's the first thing they do? They tase him right in his asshole. Can we see that? Yeah, right there. Here, let's watch this. Yeah, right in the ball sack. So they've got two guys on him, arms behind his back. They got, obviously can restrain him. Do you have to tase him in his nuts? I hope that officer gets the shit suit out of him. Come on. I mean, I follow a lot of active self-defense and police response, and I'm not an officer, but I have heard enough about it to know that this is just a little bit too much. This isn't helping. It's obviously not helping when you have a lower district court judge calling the cop not credible, calling the incident walking while black, and throwing the evidence out when it was a gun and marijuana. Holy shit. We need more of this. We definitely need more of this. That's how the police are going to get at least called out. If the city's not going to do anything about it, hopefully they will now, because I know a lot of people are going to be outraged. I'm surprised they're not protesting in Iowa City over this. So that's the broken news. Let me know what you think. And thanks for watching.